Breitbart News, they've got a video section, and they usually show videos of like the mainstream clips. And I think they're doing it to show you like what's on their radar, like this is what the enemy's thinking. So the first video coming up here is between two of my most favorite people in the world. It's Joy Behar interviewing Maxine Waters. And she's got a little bit of opinionation to do on the nursing homes. Let's see what she has to say. Or their James Brown wig.
They become infected with the COVID-19 virus. And so on the one hand, he's claiming it's going to go away, that we're progressing, that we don't need to worry. But on the other hand, he has asking people to relieve him of any liability. This is outrageous that this president, speaks this way. And
she's talking about something called the June 10th rally. There actually was a rally today, and apparently she's claiming that Trump had everybody sign disclaimers. And I got to tell you guys, I happened to notice in another article I was reading earlier today that actually was Anthony Brian Logan. He was he had a video titled that he's going to debunk this thing that she's saying here. But let me just keep going here. We'll get to that a little later.
Acts this way, and I'm particularly concerned about these nursing homes. 40% of all of the deaths from COVID-19 are nursing home victims. And so this administration have failed to get the supplies to these nursing homes that they need. And even when some of the supplies have come, they've been defective. And they're still waiting, for, masks, waiting for gowns, waiting for protective equipment. And so not only are the patients...
Joy Behar is making these puppy eyes like, oh, so bad. Trump's so evil. Well, you fucking cunt. You know goddamn well that it was the Democratic governors that by executive decree put the fucking diseased people in those old folks' homes. Your Democratic governors did that. And here's old Maxine Waters, old James Brown with yourself, saying, no, the problem was Trump. Trump, he didn't get the masks in there. He didn't get what they needed. You fucking bitch cunt. Man, I'm telling you, I got a little irritable right to start. Hang on. I got the freeze frame right now. Joy Behar on one side and Maxine. Joy Behar's got this look like oh, that Trump just. This is the Breitbart headline news for 12th of June 2020. Here's the headlines. I got a little disclaimer up front. I'm going to try to remain calm, but since they've already attacked the nation and they've already plunged a fucking spear into the heart of our soul of our nation by erecting all these monuments and stuff, I got to tell you up front, I'm going to have a little hard time controlling myself because this is way too fucking much. But here's the headline. Oh, this is one happening in Michigan here. Leftists target monument depicting freed black child honoring Emancipation Proclamation. A Michigan group that has targeted God in the public square is now seeking to tear down a monument depicting a freed black child that honors the Emancipation Proclamation. So, what Tucker Carlson was saying tonight, and by the way, I did a special video to talk about his show. It was so special tonight. So, link's going to be below everything I say. Everything I say, you can Google it. I don't never try to lie on purpose. I don't try to exaggerate. So this is going to be the truth, what I'm going to say here. I'm reading this right off of Breitbart headlines, okay? Tucker was getting a lot of examples of statues that were defamed that had nothing to do with police brutality or even black rights or anything like that, the Confederacy. They've already blurred the lines. Basically, all statues have to go. A statue of anything at all Columbus. They took down a statue of a guy that was a big abolitionist. It goes on and on. I said before, today is the blackest day, the blackest Friday in American history. The blackest Friday in American history. Quote, this is year zero. Nothing that came before can remain. That's it. They've got a scorched earth policy going right now, and the news isn't even really talking about it. And if you don't know this right now, this is right on par with like, did you ever see that movie The Patriot? You know, when those guys are coming up to their family picnic and they're just having a family picnic, and boy, next thing you know, within half an hour, half the family's dead, and the boys are fucking shooting the guys in the forest. Just like that. Snapola. That is happening right now. Alright? Photos. Seattle Autonomous Zone has a border wall and conducts deportations. Apparently they've had to establish their own police. They went and hired they've got a Zulu warlord now, some rapper guy, and he's having a conflict with some other guy who thinks that they shouldn't be that they haven't had elections. They've had to create their own police department, and so it's what they say, it's filling the power void. There has to be these levels of power, okay? And they've had to do it themselves. They're conducting deportations. What's happening in Seattle is so bad. It's the worst day in history. All right? Economists purged from Chicago Fed for criticizing defund the police. Well, they're going after everybody for what they say now. It doesn't matter what position you're in or what your whole history is. You just say the wrong word, the wrong sentences, and poof, you're fired. Maxine, quote, dishonorable Trump jabbing at black people with June 10th rally. I just did a report on that. Michael Moore, don't underestimate white male Trump supporters' rage and emotion. You know, what's he trying to do here? You never know what Michael Moore is going to do. One day he seems to be on your side. Next time he stabbed me right in the ass. He came out with this documentary recently. It was basically to say how all the alternative energy is all a bunch of bullshit, man. And boy, all the Green New Deal stuff, it's actually a lie. Like windmills and photo cells, that they're not as efficient as they're proposed to be. So you never know what this guy's going to say. I'm going to read the headline here. Let me just read this a little bit. Friday on MSNBC, liberal documentary filmmaker Michael Moore begged Democrats not to underestimate that President Donald Trump's voters are white men in rage. Moore said, quote, never take Trump for granted. If anybody's sitting at home thinking, oh man, we've got this one in the bag. Whoa, did you hear him today? He said he's done more for black people than Abraham Lincoln. Whoa, we're going to win. No, I'm telling you, I'm warning you, and I'm begging you, please do not sell this man short. He has pulled off so many things so many times. So what's he trying to say? I mean, he's warning the right that maybe Trump's a formidable employee, a formidable enemy, just to get them on their guard? Or what's he trying to say? The left has nothing, man. All they got is force and lies. You know, if they don't have any truth or decency at all. Coots Network, critical to increase legal immigration while 30 million Americans are jobless. Let's read this article. It's about the Coots brothers. The pro-mass immigration Coots brothers network of billionaire donor class organizations is begging President Trump not to reduce foreign worker competition against the roughly 30 million Americans who remain unemployed. These guys, they want to get illegal, immigration in so they can, run their factories or their slave labor places or, their farms and all this shit. I don't totally agree with that, but apparently a lot of people, it somehow became a minor issue, When you went ahead and set all the prisoners free, then, I'm not so worried about the illegals at this point, okay? Hickenlooper slapped with highest Colorado ethics violation penalty. Apparently this Hickenlooper is some politician in Colorado, and he's got like a Learjet, and he was misappropriating funds, so they're slapping with penalties. It's kind of like a minor story at this point. Minneapolis City Council unanimously approves pledge to abolish police department. Well, we all know what that's about. Those guys are either threatened, or they've been bought, or they're so stupid that they don't belong in the position there. But we all know this is kind of coming. They were talking about that weeks ago. So it just kind of happened, okay? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You motherfuckers. Every time I hear it. Gotta watch Jericho Green. Every time he says something, he mentions her. He pulls that line from Scarface. He goes, "You motherfuckers," Anyway, AOC, defund the police looks like a suburb. Let me see what that's about. Well, okay. They asked her what would a city with a defunded police department look like. She said, well, it would look like a suburb. Yeah, a suburb of Beirut, maybe, or some Cambodian burned out warlord station or something like that. Yeah, maybe. Here's an opinion by Representative Bobby Rush. Trump is in the throes of some type of insanity. Oh, they're talking 25th Amendment and stuff here. Let me check on this one again. Okay, it's an interview, a CNN interview, which, propaganda. And let me just get to the meat of it. Rush said, he continues, I don't know that there's a quick, easy fix to the nation of police brutality and murder in this nation. So the president is way off base again. He's in need. To me, he needs essentially a jingologist. What's a jingologist? Jingologist. He lies to himself. He lies to the American people. I think he's a pathological liar. There seems to be no sense of fairness or justice. There is not a good bone in his body. So I'm at the point where I'm kind of really dismissive of this. Anything he says, anything he promises, anything he utters out of his mouth is, to me, just like rubbish. He says, I'm not a psychiatrist. Well, he's a man who is really in the throes of some type of insanity. I'm not sure exactly what. I'm not a psychiatrist, but he is a person who has lost his sense of reality. So I'm glad this guy has made this opinion. He said he's not a psychologist, so it doesn't mean anything. They're going to pull his 25th Amendment stuff, and obviously what he just said is a bunch of fucking communist fucking left-wing bullshit, hatred spewing toward our great president. So, fuck him. Fuck him. Bernie speaks up. He looks like he's so fucking old, man. I'm sure his mind is really crisp, though. He's all right. But he's saying that Bernie Sanders, well, he's a complete sellout, man. He is. When you look in the dictionary for the word politician, it says, see Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, Trump is endangering people by holding a GOP convention celebration in Florida. I happen to watch some of that stuff, man. And what I saw, man, nobody was wearing a mask. When it was Trump, and it was about, the way they do stuff, he's got like about 1,000 people directly behind him. Nobody was wearing a mask, man. You know how I feel about the masks. I say, fuck the masks. I have not worn a mask yet. Not yet. I refuse. Last night I went to the CVS pharmacy. I walked in there without a mask. They were kind of giving me a weird look. Fuck them. I walked up to the front counter. They had a big box of masks. And after the transaction, I kind of looked. I went like this one. What the? The cashier, she kind of knew what she went. Yeah, whatever. I walked out. Today I took a walk, and there was this little girl on a bicycle, and she started following me on the street. Give me a fucking dirty look because I wasn't wearing my mask. I swear to God. The 9-year-old police already, the morality police, they're already after me, Think how it's going to be when these snitches are actually get their first paycheck and they start competing with each other to see who can snitch the worst. That's going to happen, by the way. I predicted it. That they're going to have snitch competitions to see who can snitch out who the worst, okay? They're going to say, this guy, he took out a whole family. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Gospel radio announcer fatally shot outside home in Baltimore. She's a 75-year-old gospel radio announcer, and somebody gunned her down. It was a black-on-black crime with her neighbor. They say it's they call her death a senseless and tragic murder. But, you probably wouldn't hear about this because it was black on black. If the killer was white, you'd hear about it, man. It'd be fucking headlines. And why do I even have to even say black on black? You see what they've done? They have polarized us. I hate doing that stuff. I hate saying white, black. I like saying the guy, the dude. Apple CEO Tim Cook announces a $100 million racial justice initiative. He's going like this. This is called capitulation. Remember that word. Capitulation. It's another word for bending over backward. Or these days, it's another word for kneeling down and sucking cock. That's what it's about. You fucking idiots. You don't back up. You don't give in like that. You do that, they're going to ask for $300 million. They'll bankrupt your country to make sure you have these racial justice initiatives. There's this. Oh! I didn't want to even see this out of the fucking corner of my eye. God damn it. Was it last night or the night before I read an article that said that Starbucks was going to ban their people from, I'm not trying to look away from it, okay? I read an article a couple nights ago that said that Starbucks was not going to allow their people to wear BLM attire. You see what it says. Yep. Starbucks caves, reverses ban on employees wearing BLM attire. I said, when I read that yesterday, I said, yeah, good. I'm going to go buy a cup of coffee. I wish every other company would follow their lead like they would be taking a lead. No! Capitulation! Keep doing it. Keep bending back. Keep bowing down. Watch what happens. Watch what happens with these initiatives. Everybody's jumping on board. Everybody. Watch. The Blackest Friday in the history of America is going right today. If you listen to the governor of Washington or the mayor of Seattle, they're saying everything's fine, ain't no big deal. Governor wasn't even aware of it, okay? But the Seattle police chief, he's got a slight different take on it, okay? Seattle police chief, cops not able to respond to rapes and robberies. Police have been unable to respond to rapes, robberies, and all sorts of violent acts occurring in Seattle's East Precinct, which authorities abandoned on Monday, leaving the area in the hands of activists who set up their own police-free, quote, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, the Chaz, the newest country on earth. So Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best said on Thursday, the police chief is now working on a plan to reopen the precinct, telling reporters calls for service have more than tripled. Calls for service have more than tripled. So that means that these people they were supposed to be all getting peacefully along, right? In this zone, but how is it that calls for service have more than tripled? And we're talking about violent calls. These are responses to emergency calls, rapes, robberies, and all sorts of violent acts that have been occurring in the area that we're not able to get to. So not only these guys taken over and declared their own country, and they've set up their own supposed security within this zone. It's fucking road warrior. It's a road warrior. The apocalypse. It's the Thunderdome. YouTube announces $100 million fund for black producers. Capitulation. Florida restaurant declares itself a, quote, safe haven for law enforcement officers. Yeah, we have to have that these days. If people aren't nice to the police aren't going to want to keep that job, It can only take so much. And we are teetering on the brink of total anarchy. And if we keep pushing them, they're going to quit. And issues like this are the only way we're going to try to hang on. And we have to do this by ourselves. I'm sure this guy that owned this restaurant, I'm sure it wasn't a corporate-owned restaurant. I'm sure it's just a mom-and-pop shop that somehow survived in the brink of the fucking disasters, trying to hang on and be right, be righteous. Thank you, guys. Now watch. Day after tomorrow, I'll read another report that says, oh, these guys, that they came out and said, no, cops are killers. Watch. They're going to capitulate. Everybody has to capitulate now. That's going to be my favorite word. Zoom censored pro-democracy activists in America at China's request. This is one of these deals where China is somehow requesting these big communications companies, big tech, to censor whatever they want to censor. And Zoom, apparently, they're yielding, and this isn't capitulation. This is selling out to the Chinese government. I'm not sure why. It's obviously all about money, the root of all evil. Maybe those guys got that part right. I don't know. It's nice to dream. College. College adds second graduation ceremony to accommodate BLM protests. I guess. Oh, hang on. That wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought they were going to have separate for the blacks or something. No, it's just because they were busy. All right, I'll give them a pass on that. That's actually reasonable. Okay. Free speech group defends UCLA professor suspended after refusing to postpone exam for black students. Oh yeah, they're capitulation, man. Yeah. I don't have to read on that, that was self-explanatory. Seattle police chief, cops unable to respond to rapes. I already went through that one. Armed anarchists extorting businesses. Before I actually look at this, I understand that in the Chaz, they had like the board. When people were going in and out for the business owners that were inside the zone, that these guys were asking them for money. Like like Luigi down the street. Getting his weekly thing.
Seattle Police Chief, cops not able to respond to rapes, robberies due to autonomous zone. By Hannah Blow on June 12, 2020. Police have been unable to respond to rapes, robberies, and all sorts of violent acts occurring in Seattle's East Precinct, which authorities abandoned on Monday, leaving the area in the hands of activists who set up their own police-free Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. CHAZ, Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best said Thursday. The police chief is now working on a plan to reopen the precinct, telling reporters calls for service have more than tripled. These are responses to emergency calls, rapes, robberies, and all sorts of violent acts that have been occurring in the area that we're not able to get to, she said. Emergency response times in the area have tripled, she noted, going from just over 5 minutes to 18 minutes. If that is your mother, your sister, your cousin, your neighbor's kid that is being raped, robbed, assaulted, or otherwise victimized, you're not going to want to have to report that it took the police 3 times longer to get there to provide services to them, Best said. It was never an option to have residents of the precinct, many of whom are members of our most marginalized communities by the way, waiting for an extra length of time for an officer to arrive to a violent crime in progress, she stated. The police chief also confirmed someone breached the building, which was abandoned on Monday. Carmen, in a Thursday video address to East Precinct officers, emphasized it was not her decision to abandon the precinct. Rather, it was the city that relinquished to severe public pressure, resulting in protesters, including Antifa members and self-described anarchists, setting up a 6-block perimeter, Chaz, around the area and deeming it a police-free, autonomous zone. I asked you to stand on that line, day in and day out, to be pelted with projectiles, to be screamed at, threatened, and in some cases hurt, then to have a change of course nearly 2 weeks in. It seems like an insult to you and our community, Best said, adding ultimately, the city had other plans for the building and caved to public pressure. Best also highlighted reports of armed individuals patrolling certain areas of Chaz and said they have heard that those individuals may be demanding payment from business owners in exchange for that protection. Although she noted at a later press conference the department had not received any formal reports. However, she also said in the video they have heard that individuals in the zone may be demanding to see identification from those who live in the area. This is not legal, she stressed. She wrapped up her brief message to officers by recognizing that they likely feel underappreciated but said, despite the noise, she believes most people in Seattle support the police department and its officers even though they may not be the ones posting on social media. They and I will continue to have your backs, the police chief added.
So, the whole movement is, police are oppressive and fuck the cops and cops are pigs. And so they got this citizen patrols here, and they appear to be strong-arming people way worse than any cops have ever done. They're actually asking for protection money. I haven't heard that word since like 1932, protection. We're in the protection racket. Remember that? Well, how's that anarchy working out for you guys, huh? I understand they're trying to plant, they're trying to have farms, so they're trying to plant stuff, Using Dixie cups. They didn't know how to fucking even do it, but they sure are planting a lot of marijuana there. These are promises of a utopian future that's going to be beautiful, but it's actually all a fucking lie. These guys are actually being funded by militants that are actually doing this to fuck up our whole country, to cast us into turmoil and make us fight and hate each other on purpose. Well, these guys, they're the biggest stooges of them all, aren't they? They're the puppets. They're mostly white, so I'm gonna go ahead and call them chimpanzees. I would have a hard time calling some of those protesters of certain races chimpanzees. You'd think there was a racial connection. I guess I can get away with this time because these guys are white. And again, why do I have to even bring this shit up? There we go. I'm forced this way. You know, you guys have snapped me into the all or none decision of having to go one way or another. Thanks, guys. Great. Everything's working out great, isn't it? It's all going so smooth right now, isn't it? For everybody, right? Frightened neighbors hire private security forces. Self-explanatory. Poll 55% of Democrats support defund the police, while 64% of Americans oppose. If you say 64% of Americans oppose, then I'm really not sure if those other 36% are for it, or there's a certain part of that 36% is like uncommitted or something like that. If 36% of Americans actually support defunding the police, and I'd have to say not only are those 36% definitely addicted to CNN and are completely suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, they're also fucking assholes. I'm going to go ahead and use something that they called us. These guys are deplorable right here. If you say defund the police, I'm going to go ahead and say you're deplorable. Well, maybe not. Deplorable means it can never ever be what's the word? Redeemed. I'm sorry. Yeah, but this maybe another word for it. How about they just suck? Okay. Fucking idiots, man. This is why, you know, Hitler was able to convince. You just tell the people something, they believe it. Whatever. Yeah. CNN, NPR. Garcetti retroactively defunds LAPD overtime. What is that? He was going to go charge them, back charge them for the stuff that they paid on the paychecks. Let me look at this one real quick here, okay? Garcetti's such a sellout. They got a photo with his fucking kneeling down. City of Los Angeles is adding insult to injury to its treatment of police officers by retroactively defunding LAPD overtime following days of pound sign Black Lives Matter protests and riots. According to an internal letter obtained by Breitbart News, was actually kind of a bastion of truth, I've found. So the mayor actually had the fucking nerve, the chutzpah, to write these guys a letter. Okay, let me read some of the letter. You can't write this stuff, man. What's going on is the most amazing thing possible. All the fiction authors in the world, they all got together. They couldn't come up with a story half as weird and exciting and dramatic and amazing as what's going on right now. I mean, it's too much, man. It says, all department personnel, blah, blah, blah. I recognize that you work tirelessly, blah, blah, blah. But then it says, therefore, this notice is to advise department personnel that as of June 7th, 2020, pursuant to Memorandum of Understanding 24, Article, blah, 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 overtime, compensation for overtime shall be in the form at the appropriate rate. So they're going to pay straight time for overtime. They're taking away their time and a half. Thank you. That's so nice of you. So nice of you. Oh, additionally, no non-essential overtime. All non-essential overtime is canceled. This includes, but not limited to, overtime related to administrative duties, cannabis task force. I kind of like that, actually. Human trafficking task force. I don't like that at all. You motherfucker, you can't do that. You can't say, don't do the human trafficking because we can't pay the overtime. You can't do that. You see how see what they do? They propose something. They go, we're going to give you this, 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 and this. And the first three things are fucking great. And the last one is you got cancer. We're gonna give you we're gonna poke a fucking pole up your asshole and hang you from there. And let your family come home from the farm and find their father hung up with a fucking pole stuck up of his asshole, like Attila the Hun used to do. He used to love doing that. Here we go. This is the modern day Attila the Hun right here. Of course, in the hospitals, they put the tube in the other way. They put it down your throat and they put you on a ventilator and they kill you that way. 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. Social media influence, capitulation, blah, blah, blah. That's enough. I can't stand anymore. This is Breitbart headline news for the 12th of June, 2020. Marty Waller from Livonia, Michigan reporting.